sometimes I have a problem doing that.
Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Call this January 27th Jackson County Commission meeting to order. I have a roll call.
District 1, Mr. Coffey. Present. District 2, Mr. Venable. Present. District 3, Mr. Miller. Present. And District 4, Mr. Level. Present.
Quorum is present, so we can conduct business. We have an invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge. Now, can everybody hear me okay? Somewhat? Okay, good. I guess whoever's speaking, whenever we do have folks speak, if you would, please come forward. Was there anyone else that wanted to sign up to speak for the public hearing? Okay. Okay. So, well, I'll get to discussion on how we'll conduct the public hearing in just a moment. First, we have our minutes from the January 13th meeting. We've had time to review those, so do we have a motion to approve those minutes? Motion, we have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Next item is approval of the agenda for the meeting. We have 3 items under new business. So do we have any changes to the agenda before we proceed? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda with those 3 items?
So moved.
Motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Next item is the public hearing, and this is the time and the place that was called for the public hearing regarding County Road 96. The way I'd like to ask that we move forward with this tonight is that we have TVA present kind of a revised proposal from what they talked with us last time. Have the commission ask any questions and answers. Then we'll go through the individual that had signed up to speak, and then we can kind of take it from there. So we'll turn it over to you.
My name is John Kammeyer from the TVA. It's a little hard to see, but I'll try to speak specifically and give you some locations so you can kind of follow along with the dialogue here. Our proposal is really based on a safety issue. We have to move roughly 400,000 cubic yards of soil from one side of County Road 96 to the other side. We're in the process of closing the main coal combustion product impoundments, the ponds that you see on the facility, and we're going to start physically closing the gypsum stack at Widows Creek probably in May timeframe. And to do that, we put a membrane liner over top of it, and we have to put 2 feet of soil over top of that, plant grass. So we're done. It's a nice grassy hill, but this is 160 acres. That 2 feet is a lot of soil. 400,000 yards, it's roughly 15,000 trucks per 2 construction years. That's what it's going to take. We'll start in May, we'll work from May until about November of this year. Next year we'll start about in April and work until November, weather permitted, we'll be done. Okay, so what we're asking for consideration here is that during construction times only, that's what the comments we got last time. We talked about closing the road for that whole 2-year period, plus some time to do some other work in the future. After getting some good comment from the folks that were there, we submitted a revised proposal, and we would close the road only during daylight hours, Monday to Friday. 7 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday to Friday, basically April to November. The rest of the time, weekends it would be open, or winter would be open, evenings and nights it would be open. That took care of at least a couple of people's comments and concerns. Not everybody's, I understand. But the idea again is to make this safer. The alternative is to come across the road, and that's all we're doing is driving across the road in one spot. The alternative is to put flaggers on either side. And for those 15,000 trucks a year, the flaggers will stop if they go back and forth multiple times, obviously an hour. stops the people that way. Of course, you're running the risk, we're running the risk that if somebody's not paying attention, comes around that corner and plows into somebody, back into somebody, who runs into the truck, and can seriously hurt, or even, God forbid, kill someone. So that's the proposal. Is it okay to ask for questions, or?
Cool. Any questions from the commission right now? I would like to ask first for Mr. Barry McLeod, who signed up. We'll have him speak, and then we'll open it up for any other questions.
I misunderstood, that was basically just a question.
Right.
I don't have anything to speak about, it's just a question I present to.
Okay. So we'll open it up for any questions.
Okay. Number one question, I guess, was about the property where you're removing the soil from. What are the chances that plans would change if that land is actually be used later on for the gate purposes?
Right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. When we first bought that property, we had discussion about actually building there. But things have changed, the economy changed. Right now, the Widows Creek Unit 7 and 8 are scheduled to shut down. That may change. Studies are going on all the time. A lot of it depends on the economy, whether the power sales go up or down. But right now, they get shut down. That being the case, we'll use that land for clay, for soil, close the impoundments, and then return it back to normal. We take the topsoil, we push it aside, we take the clay out, we contour it again, we put the clay back on it, and we revegetate. So when we're done, it's going to look like essentially like it is now, except the high spots will be lower. But it'll drain normally, there won't be any standing water, it won't be erosion. It'll meet all the rules and regulations for removing earth like that and returning it to normal.
Also, too, is there any chances that you will be expanding your property as far as PBA in that area?
Right now, there's no plan.
One last thing is access to Widows Creek itself, as far as recreation. What I understand of the map shows the blocking on the other end to be at the other two county roads be.
Yes.
And what I understand that will cut off access to the creek itself.
Yeah, that was, there's a couple of ways of doing this. We thought that was the easiest way. Again, it's just during daylight. You can easily walk over to the bridge. We're going to be working up around the curve there. We'll be crossing. We don't want people in that area because of truck traffic, but traffic during daylight hours, Monday through Friday, at the creek isn't going to bother anybody. We thought it was easier than trying to have people come across that railroad track and cross the bridge and then have to turn around and come back and you see that it's closed. It made more sense to stop it at the intersection of 7 and 69. That was just our logic. But, access, walking up there, up to the bridge, yes, but we'll have signage to keep you from going past a certain point.
Which now there's another possibility here, but if the road was going to be closed, bringing that turnaround on the other side of the railroad track so that you wouldn't have any issues with that railroad track either. And then it's developed into what it is. But it could just, if this plan moves forward as is proposed tonight, it could just as easily be moved back, or again, the walking solution as far as walking to the bridge. It's my understanding, and they're not going to limit, since it won't be closed, they can't really limit access to Widows Creek any different than it is now. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've got a question on terminology. You've been saying clay, do you mean chert? Or you said clay, moving clay.
No, we mean clay and topsoil. There's clay in that property. We're not going to move chert.
I've seen topsoil and I've seen chert in that area, so I wouldn't.
We've already drilled it. There's clay out there. Good stuff. Reasonably good stuff. Right, Jimmy?
That's right.
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
a question. As far as, you said you kind of surveyed the area, have you done archaeological surveys, what's going to happen to the land? The restoration of the land, once it's tore down, what's the process of timeline on restoring that? Is that part of accumulated effort as it goes, or will it sit disturbed for a while and then
We'll do it in cells. There'll be a period of time, we do this project, in 2 years, it'll be open. We'll finish off that area, and there's a 3-year gap before we do the next project, so we will close that area. So it won't just sit open for the next 3 years. Answer that question. As far as the surveys, the archaeological, yes, that's all been done as part of the NEPA study that we've already done. It hasn't been issued yet, but it'll be coming out here shortly. That's part of that effort, all artifacts, those kind of things are all looked at, so yes, that came out clean, no issues, no issues. So we're good there.
The three options that we kind of have before us, and we'll have to make a decision at some point, will be either to vacate the road altogether, to do the plan that they're proposing now, which would be to have it open and closed, or to do the flaggers, allow them to do the flaggers as they utilize, a portion of that road. Any of those agreements we'll have writing. If we do go with the plan they're saying now, there'll be something in writing for us to have those sureties that that road will be put back into, make sure it's in a good condition when the project is finished. So we'll work with that. I can't speak for everyone, but I believe that's something that we're all concerned about. If this is the way we go, making sure that that road is returned to a decent condition. And I would hope, that's a good point you bring up about if an emergency happens. That's something I hadn't thought about, but that's something we definitely need to have included in this to make sure that we can have that assurity if something does happen, that we can utilize that for access.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you going to tear any of the structure down? What's the plan itself? Are you going to tear the structure down?
Haven't put that plan together yet. We'll make that decision if and when we shut down operations on Unit 7, then we'll make that decision what to do with it.
So the dirt you're talking about is just going to go across, going to be above the plan, around the plan?
No. 2019 is the current scheduled date for shutdown of Unit 7. At that point, we'll have to have a plan. Okay.
Other questions or comments? All right.
Y'all want to haul the ash out and then put the dirt in?
No.
Fill the ash up?
No. Contour it, meet Alabama state regulations in accordance with an approved plan that they have already approved. That's it. We'll have an approved plan from the state of Alabama as far as the shape of the stack, and then we'll close it with a liner and soil on top of it.
Where are you going to put the ash?
It stays there.
We'll put it there?
Stays right where it's at.
You're not going to cover it all up, you don't need room to put the ash?
No. We cover it up. That's the liner and the clay is on top of the ash.
But you're going to be running some of the plant.
Well, we're closing the gypsum stack now, and that's not receiving anything. Everything's going to the main ash pond. So we're closing the gypsum stack, and we'll run until 2019, and then if the decision is made to shut down Unit 7, then we'll close the main ash pond.
So 7's never done 19?
That's the current plan. Okay.
Other questions or comments? All right.
Y'all want to haul the ash out and then put the dirt in?
No.
Fill the ash up?
No. Contour it, meet Alabama state regulations in accordance with an approved plan that they have already approved. That's it. We'll have an approved plan from the state of Alabama as far as the shape of the stack, and then we'll close it with a liner and soil on top of it.
Where are you going to put the ash?
It stays there.
We'll put it there?
Stays right where it's at.
You're not going to cover it all up, you don't need room to put the ash?
No. We cover it up. That's the liner and the clay is on top of the ash.
But you're going to be running some of the plant.
Well, we're closing the gypsum stack now, and that's not receiving anything. Everything's going to the main ash pond. So we're closing the gypsum stack, and we'll run until 2019, and then if the decision is made to shut down Unit 7, then we'll close the main asphalt.
So 7's never done 19?
That's the current plan. Still under study, though, still under study.
That's just for this one plant, right? That's just for the plant there?
Yes.
Okay.
Willow Street.
Does this have any effect on that county hall?
Nothing to do with that. I'm not going to answer any questions about that. Sorry. Not even going to talk about it. Not my turn.
I got a question. Talking about the dig. I live, from here to the water fountain, before we got my property. Are y'all gonna dig all the way up to mine? That's what I have to worry about, because, my property line is for a couple of feet, and I didn't know if y'all were gonna come right to the edge and dig around.
Way in the center.
Okay.
It'll be a good day for it. I won't even see it.
Okay.
Good, thank you all. Appreciate it all. Very kind.
Any comments from the commission, or questions from the commission?
I'd like to reassure this gentleman back. You do understand during the storm or during any kind of emergency, tornadoes or what have you, this thing will be closed each day and open back each night. It's not going to just be closed and that's it under this proposal. I was making sure you understood that, yes, ma'am.
The storm don't know it's day and night.
Well, I understand that. But if there's devastation, it's not going to be, closed each day. While you're going through that.
Okay. The commission will vote on this tonight. We'll put this, if there's no objection, we'll place this on our next meeting agenda, which will be the 10th of February. And we'll have a vote that night. If there are any, if you have any other comments or questions, I give everybody time to think about what we presented tonight. Any other questions or comments, so please give us a call, visit us at the courthouse, send us an email. We'll be glad to hear from you if you have any other concerns or anything. We'll pass that along. And again, I think we've got some good comments tonight too to things that haven't been thought about, so we're prepared for that.
When will this decision be made about the road?
On the 10th of February.
On the 10th?
Right, we'll have a meeting at the Jackson County Courthouse on the 10th at 5 p.m. And the decision should be made then unless something comes up, but hopefully we'll be prepared to make a decision at that point in time. Is there any objection to proceeding that way?
And the proposal now is to close the road from, say, 7 till 4, and then reopen it the rest of the time, and stay open on the weekends.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And open all winter.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Are the contractors that's going to move the dirt, will they be limited to 7 to 4,
Yes.
5 days a week? Or will they be open 24 hour days, 7 days a week?
No, contractor's going to be limited to work between 7 and 4, Monday through Friday.
Anything else? Okay, like I said, we'll vote on this on the 10th. Any changes, and with that, we'll close the public hearing and move on to the rest of the business. We've had no one else sign up to speak. We have no old business, so we'll move on to new business.